that we have to have some sort of environmental regulations to actually make economic growth worthwhile. Now, I want to address my second contention as well, and you can tag this as sustainability requires environmental protection. Sustainability requires environmental protection. BP estimates within the next 50 years, countries will run out of oil, natural gas, and coal, all these resources that we're faced with. A lot of developed nations are really reliant on these resources, for the US and many other countries in Europe. But what makes developing countries different is they're actually choosing a different path the majority of the time. Now, Costa Rica is a great example of this, and this is my first application. Costa Rica had 99% renewable energy use last year, 94 days in a row without diesel energy. Now I know what you're thinking. Is Costa Rica really a developing country? Didn't I go to vacation there last year? Well, obviously Costa Rica has a very large ecotourism market, but there are plenty of other applications. Another you could tag is Kenya, Peru, Vietnam, the Philippines, all leading investment in their own respective fields. Kenya with geothermal, Vietnam with air, and Philippines with hydroelectric. We're looking at applications of countries that are paving the way because it's economically beneficial to do so. And let me mention one thing. Green energy is actually cheaper than conventional energy. Green energy is cheaper than renewable energy. The International Energy Agency recently posted an article with Energy Innovation regarding the average cost long-term of energy sources. The initial investment for green energy is obviously a little bit more expensive, but the difference between them is simply green energy requires maintenance, conventional energy requires more and more natural resources that countries do not have. And so not only do you not get energy, but it's much more expensive long-term to get it. That's why developing countries are doing this. Now, an interesting article from Pew Research is entitled Clean Energy Investment Shifting to Developing Nations, regarding that over the next 15 years, 54% of new global energy capacity will be renewable, and the majority of global energy capacity will be in developing countries. They're looking to renewable energy because they want to protect their environments and they want to maintain growth long-term without the negative impacts. This is actually a quote from the article regarding why they're switching to renewable energy. Quote, developing countries are prioritizing solar, wind, and other renewables in order to reduce energy poverty, power economic progress, enhance national security, and protect the environment. Obviously, the objectives there include economic growth, but also environmental protection because we don't want to see pollution problems like we do in unrestrained economies. Countries know the best path, and it is economically feasible and environmentally feasible to do so, and that's why they're choosing it. Now, let's address Elijah's case and why I believe you should negate it. Starting out with his his point of resolutional analysis of prioritize. I agree with this analysis of the word prioritize, and that Elijah's job is to prove to you that you have to prioritize economic growth over environmental protection. Now the issue here is that because I agree with the definition, I do not have to agree with the sense that we are prioritizing. In essence, I do agree Elijah's job is to show that economic growth has to be dealt with first before environmental protection is. My job as negative, though, is to negate the resolution. It's my stance that we should not prioritize either one or put one first, because that's not what countries are doing, and that's not what's best for them long term. We see from the articles and the evidence relating that countries are valuing both of these things because they don't want economic problems, they don't want environmental problems, and it's the best route to do so to achieve both of those. So, regarding his value of survival, my main response you can tag as survive and thrive. Survive and thrive. We're not just looking at getting people bare necessities and making sure starving children in Africa receive a vaccine. We want to raise their quality of life. We want to get them better education. We want to give them higher life expectancy. There's a reason developed nations like the US have a life expectancy of 79, and developed ones like Sierra Leone have a life expectancy of 46. There has to be development in these countries, not just survival. Addressing my group response to his contentions, I generally agree with his statement, but if we really want to avoid the negative impacts of economic growth and achieve the benefits of environmental protection, the negative side is the way to go. Thank you.
Everyone's ready?
Yeah.